So how are you handling the schedule, like for mostly the groups on Saturday? Because I know that the groups on during the week, it's like 7 to 9, right?
Yes,
Um,
I
and
do.
so, and are you normally doing like a little break, two breaks? I'm just curious as to how you handle the
Okay, well,
schedule.
I'm just giving one break
Okay.
at the middle of the class. It usually takes like 1 hour, and I wait like 1 hour and a half to
Oh,
give
okay.
the first break, and it is 15 minutes, right?
It's really up to you. I usually give them 20.
Okay.
And you might see maybe if they're too tired or they haven't eaten, they might
Yeah.
tell you. So I'm like, okay, guys, if you behave, I'm going to give you 20 minutes. And
Okay.
but up to 20, 15, up to 20. Mhm.
Okay, okay. Well, I have been giving them 15 minutes.
Okay.
And well, at the beginning of the class, I usually start checking the homework if we had
Hmm.
homework, right? And
Yes.
just to clarify if any doubts that they could have during the homework. After
Okay.
that, I start with the book. I usually start with a quote. I like to do that, or a
That's
video, a
nice.
motivational video, because I have a group at 2 p.m. They are not like very participative, so I usually try to
Mm,
give them or share videos or quotes to keep them motivated during their classes, right? The participation and everything.
yes.
Um, what else? Well, after that, I usually start with a book. We make like all the exercises from the book, the audios and everything.
Mhm.
And I usually left the grammar part to the end. So
Okay.
I take that. I usually make a presentation at Canva. So I share the
Oh,
Canva,
okay.
and they make also exercise or practices with the grammar. And
Hmm.
if I have time, because that is something that I was gonna tell you, because I have a
Yeah.
lot of time on Saturdays since it is 3 hours, but with the intensive
Hmm.
groups, I just can't check the book, and, and that's it, because I don't
Okay.
have like a
Hmm.
lot of time. But on
Right, right.
Saturday, I usually make like a breakout rooms or something like that, so they can participate
Hmm.
or prepare a presentation, and then
Yes.
they present.
Okay, gotcha. All right, that sounds good. Yeah, I think you handle it well. I usually, when I used to teach intensives, like
Mhm.
I would try to do 1 hour, like seven, right? Like they usually, I don't know if you mark the attendance
Yep.
with them at the beginning.
Yes.
Okay. I have another tip for you to do that so you don't spend a lot of time. I don't know how much time you might, spend marking the attendance, but in my case, I hate doing it. So I make them do it for me. And then I have like the record of the attendance. And then I do have to sit down and pass it in the Excel document because we're trying to make that, even better. But for now, that's the process that we have. After the recess, most people will probably be there. And after the recess is also when I ask them to mark attendance because it's like, you probably know that most of them are going to be there. And if somebody didn't show up after the recess, they're probably not coming, right, to class.
Yes.
So,
I
mhm.
usually check the attendance before the break.
Oh, okay, perfect. Then that's great. That's awesome. Cool. All right. And on Saturdays, how do you handle the schedule as well? Do you do the 3 hours straight? Do you take two breaks?
No, I take one break, 15 minutes. I didn't know that I could give 20, because actually they
Oh no,
tell
yeah.
me like, teacher, I didn't have enough time to take my
Yeah, that happens. No.
yeah, my break
Um,
or something
yeah.
like. So, well, I have been giving them 15 minutes.
Okay.
The same at the middle of the class. I usually wait like 1 hour and a half or something like that to give
Yeah.
them the break. And after the break, I usually start with the grammar part with the
Okay.
guys from the Saturdays, right? Because
Okay.
I
Okay.
at the beginning use to check the homework, and then
Hmm.
to do all the exercises from the book, and then
Yeah.
after the break we usually check the grammar part, and I after
Hmm.
that try to create like the breakout rooms or presentations or
Hmm.
activities, so they can try to practice a little bit the grammar that I already explained, right?
Okay, 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 that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, we're very flexible with the way you want to handle the time.
Mhm.
A lot of, parents, they sometimes complain because it's like they pretend that we have to be 3 hours with them,
Mhm.
at all times. And to be honest, it's not very effective. I noticed that they get distracted, after the first hour, they need a break. I mean, if you can do like, even before the hour, because, we know that after 40 minutes of, and especially virtual classes, I feel like they just get really distracted. So I think you can, if you can find a way to make it more effective for you, you're free to do it, like if you want to start, because I used to do, for example, give them 10 minutes at the beginning for a grace period so that they connect, if it's 8 a.m., you guys can connect at 8:10 on Zoom, but make sure you go to Google Classroom first and you mark yourselves present on Google Classroom. So like I give them a grace period. So most people are there and then they all join at the same time. There's no interruptions, right? So make it effective for you. We're not going to be like, oh no, you're supposed to start at 8 a.m. or you're supposed to finish at this time, right?
Mhm.
You have that freedom for you to make sure that students are not late or that they're not tired, or you know
Mhm.
that's very apt to you. Sometimes I give them 20 minutes, 25. Sometimes I leave 10 minutes before the class,
Mhm.
um, because maybe we finish everything, or I finish with a video so they don't have to do anything the last 10 minutes or something like that, right? A funny video could also work, something like that that makes it more fun. So yeah, that's like the time is really up to you. Whatever works for you, right? Edmodo is actually one of my favorite tools because I've it's pretty much like a social media for teachers and students. So it looks like very similar to Facebook. And the reason why I like it is because it does most of the job for you. You don't really have to do much when it comes to grading or when it comes to checking homework or quizzes or things like that. So let me see. Do you even have you checked this website before or not
Yes,
really?
yes, I already created my profile
Awesome.
and everything, but I have
Okay,
been
okay.
trying to use it.
Okay. So let me, for example, the class that you were teaching, I think I still have it somewhere here. I think it was this. No, not that one. This one here. So what you do is like you create a class, right? There's like an option for you to create classes. And then it'll show up like this. Okay. Then when you create the class, you have, it looks like a Facebook. So you scroll down to see what's like old, from the oldest to the newest stuff, right? The most recent stuff. So what I like about it is, for example, you can create an assignment or a quiz.
Mm-hmm.
Assignments, they show up like this. So it's very simple for students to upload assignments because this is also an application on your phone. So what I told students to do is like, you guys just have to download it on your phone. It's like an E for Edmodo.
Mm-hmm.
And when you access it, it gives you the reminders, like you have to upload it this day. It tells you if you're late. You can message them through Edmodo, so you don't have to use a lot of WhatsApp, because sometimes I don't really like using a lot of WhatsApp because I also have my personal stuff. So I'm like, I'd rather have only one platform for that,
Yes,
you know?
that's the need
So,
that I actually have because I have a lot of messages and I usually
mm-hmm,
am at the university. So I am trying sometimes to
yeah.
find a message that a classmate sent me and I'm like scrolling and scrolling
It's
myself.
a mess. And before they used to send you the homework on WhatsApp. So it's like, oh my God, I hated having a lot of documents, a lot of pictures. And now I don't even allow them to send me like, more like an audio or something. I'm like, just send me a message and, I'll help you. But only if necessary. Like if you can't do it through Edmodo, do it through WhatsApp, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you try to do it through Edmodo because this is the platform that they have to use. It's like educating them a little bit so everything is more organized. And attendance, for example. So attendance, we have something like this. Like I put attendance, then the date, type present or type now I do like type present, absent, or justified, so
Mm-hmm.
that even if they're not gonna be in class, they have to go to Edmodo and they have to write it there instead of send. I mean, they can also send me a WhatsApp message. It's okay, but I prefer to have a record because I also get lost. I'm like, oh my God, I don't remember that message.
Mm-hmm.
So this is gonna make it easier for you for attendance. And then I do the attendance myself. I don't really have to call their names, because I used to take like almost 20 minutes doing this. So it's like I shouldn't do that, right? I want to take 20 minutes, maybe doing a little warm up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or a listening or something, right?
Yep.
So this is my recommendation for attendance. It really works for me. And they educate themselves to do it, even if they justify their absence. It's like go and do it there, or you're in the list, you're gonna show us absent. I even tell them that it's like if you don't do it here, even if you were present, you're gonna be absent. So if Alcanza calls you because you were absent, I tell them like 3 absences means you're out. That's not true, okay? That's not true. But I tell them that because they take it more seriously.
Yeah.
So we can't really kick them out of the class unless they don't pass, the tests.
Mm-hmm.
But because they're paying, but I tell them, hey, if 3 absences, you're gonna lose a lot of material and you're gonna miss a lot of information. So you're out, and they actually show up or at least justify, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So
I have that kind of issue with the intensive group because I have noticed that
mm,
they are studying at classes with me, but they are also studying at the university. So they are trying
oh yeah.
both. And sometimes I call them and they are like, not here, right? And I call and call.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So
Yes.
that is something I didn't know that I could do this in Edmodo. I have noticed
Hmm.
that it is kind of as Facebook or something like that.
Yeah.
But what I am afraid of using Edmodo, or the reason
Yes.
that I didn't make the change with this group, was
Yeah.
that I already made the group at the classroom, and I
Oh
had
yeah, no,
like,
totally.
the grades for the homeworks and everything.
Oh yeah,
I
the
didn't know how to
records.
change
Mhm.
or how to move that from classrooms to Edmodo.
Yeah, that's kind of difficult, the merging. It's not impossible that you could maybe like I don't know if you could do it on Excel and then upload it, but I guess it's really difficult. I recommend making the change if you're finishing, let's say maybe finishing a group or starting a new group.
Uh-huh.
Um, unless it becomes mandatory, because at some point, as I told you, but it's probably going to take some time. So I'm sure you're gonna be finishing a group by then. Um, but yeah, as soon as you finish, try it out with one group. You don't have to try with all of them. You can try with one, see if you like it better. Some teachers are very loyal to Google Classroom, and as long as it works for them, go ahead and use it, right? As long as you defend it, you're like, okay, it works for me. I have all the records, it's organized, do it. But some teachers are not even using any platform,
Uh,
and they're only using WhatsApp. So it's like, okay, that's
no,
a little
great.
messy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So you should probably have at least one, Google Classroom or Edmodo. Edmodo, I like it because as I told you, students react better at it. It doesn't look like a classroom. It looks more like social media, like Facebook, and they like the app because it's very friendly. And the only way they have to do like upload the homework is like they save it on their phones to take pictures, and then there's an option on the app to say upload, and then they upload it, and you have the access. For example, here two people uploaded it, so I have Santi and Vale, okay, and it says when, so it was even late, but it's
Mhm.
okay. Then you can enter the grade right here if you want to.
Okay.
um, the grade for me is like if they handed it in or not, right? If they did, they get
Yeah.
10 or 5 points. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's the same. Hmm.
Yeah, because there's no right or wrong answer, so it looks like this.
Hmm.
You see, and then you can just, if you want to add a comment, perfect. If not, you just send the grade. Now, when you do the grade, this is another thing that Edmodo has that I'm sure Google Classroom does something similar, is that it will go to progress automatically. So, so you have like, all the names of the students, their progress, like this is more like an overall.
Hmm.
But then you have, homework, if they turn it in, you can put the points if you want instead of turn in, or do this at the end. If they have exams, it will also show here, quizzes, stuff like that. And what I like the most of this is that you can just click here, export, and it will create an Excel with all the grades for you. So you don't really have to do anything. Just
Oh.
be organized,
Hmm.
but as long as you submit everything in here, it will do the job for you. So you will have the
Yeah, because actually with classrooms, I have to check the homework there, and then I have to um, record the scores at the exam
oh
I already have. I didn't know
uh,
that I could do this in the model.
so Edmodo does it automatically for you. It will show right here, for
Hmm.
example. And then the student in their profile, they're able to see their grades in real time. They're able to see their percentage, So I think it's just easier
Yeah.
for us. Another thing that I like, and because I know that I'm taking too long, and I don't know if it's okay for you, but
Don't worry.
the other
I
thing is,
work till 1.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. So quizzes is like you can create a quiz from here instead of using Google Forms. Like I sometimes do Google Forms, to be honest,
Hmm.
because I have them saved there, and well, the exams are on Google Forms, for example. But quizzes, you can create a small quiz. So you can do, I don't know, let's see, verb to be, and then you can do, excuse me, you can do the instructions, I don't know, multiple choice or whatever, and then you can have
Uh,
different categories, multiple choice. It's a little
it's
the
very
fun.
similar than the forms.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to the forms, but I like it better because it will automatically check for you, and it will be sent to the progress right away.
Oh,
So it's like everything is done here, You can sometimes I did an exam here, and if it's too long, I don't recommend it because it will get stuck for the students. So with Google Forms is better because at least you guarantee that they can I don't know, save it, or they have time to do it, or at least there's a record. Here I remember I had a lot of trouble with exams, but quizzes is totally okay.
okay.
So that's my recommendation. And another thing that I do that is very, very helpful, parents love it, and I think students as well, because sometimes they don't take notes or pay attention or something, is that after every class, I write today's session, then I write the topic, and I upload the material that we do in class, right? Like these will be like the notes.
Uh-huh.
So notes that I take on the whiteboard. Um, and then there's also the annotations, that or the presentations that I covered. I'm sure you do something like this in classroom, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's after every class, I add the word of the day, the feedback of the class, and the pictures for them to, I don't know if they didn't copy like something, right? Like an observation or something. So that's how I do it, and it's like more organized. I have a record of the stuff that I use, the presentations, and yeah, so that's pretty much what I do.
Okay, Oscar, I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know, because I have been uploading the class, the recording of the class.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Yeah.
should I do that also in a Modo if I start using a
Um,
Modo, or just like
mhm.
important parts of the class?
You can totally do it here. I recommend it actually. I normally don't do it because I send it on WhatsApp. Because I get like a notification on my emails like your recording is up. So I copy the notification and
Mhm.
send it on WhatsApp because for me it's easier to just forward it. But if you want to add it here, total, you can do it. It's like class recording. And then what I like about here is that you can do, for example, class recording, and then it already has the date, right? Um, but you can do like a little link here.
Uh-huh.
So you can put the text, I don't know, February, I don't know, 14th, the date. And then you copy paste the link here,
Mhm.
and save it, and it will even show sometimes the video, or at least it will show the link, but it will look like how can I call it? Like the video is attached to it.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's even like nicer, the way it looks. Sometimes students can play through there. If it's a YouTube video, they don't even have to go to YouTube. They just go here and watch the video directly from here. In this one, you have an option to save your recordings to iCloud, so it will show up here, or
Mhm.
to cloud, sorry, to cloud, not iCloud, to cloud. So they will show up here. What this means is that you can just click on share, right? Um, and you can say copy sharing information, and then they don't have to access your Google Drive anymore. They will access Zoom directly.
Um,
So let me give you an example, like copy shareable link,
mhm.
and then I send them this link. It will show like this. You see?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm there. So they will have access to this on the browser. They don't have to download anything. You don't have to upload anything. So
Yeah,
it even makes your life easier because I'm sure you have to download it and upload it, right?
that's what I have to do, and it's kind of difficult because on Saturdays I have three groups, so I have to. My
Mm-hmm.
computer is like stuck, right? Because it is
Yeah.
in one video and presenting it on Zoom and uploading
Mhm.
another video, and that's crazy.
Right. It's crazy. So, and another thing that I wanted to say, it's okay if you take the whole Saturday to have, or even Sunday to upload a recording. You don't have to send the recording to them right away, because you have to take your time to do that. So if you have another class and you haven't uploaded the recording, no worries, like do it later. Okay, you can tell them, students, I'm going to record the class, and the Tuesday I'm going to send you the recordings, or on the latest Wednesday I'm going to send you the recordings, because it's not your responsibility. We're sending recordings right now because it helps me like make observations. Some students have problems with jobs and they have to join late, stuff like that. But to be honest, the responsibility is to be in class, right? So if the recording is like a bonus for them.
And actually, I feel that when they know that we are going to upload the class, they could
Mhm,
be like doing something else, not putting attention to the class because they know that
mhm.
you upload the recording.
Correct. So I would start by saying, guys, if you want the recording, send me a message and I will send it to you, because I've noticed that you're waiting for the recording and you're not really connecting to class, and I want you to be in class. So from now on, I'm not going to send you the recording. It's going to be only if I want to, okay? Or something like that, so that you remember you have the control of the class, right? So you can tell them things that will work for you so that they come to class. Like, the absences excuse that I give them, or it's because it worked for me. I'm like, they're not coming to class, they're not taking it seriously. I'm going to tell them, I'm going to invent a rule. If you don't come to class 3 times in a row, you're going to be out, right? If you don't come to class and you want the recording, you have to justify, tell me why, right? Something like that, that works for you. Am I
Okay.
making myself clear? Yeah, sense, makes
Yes,
sense.
very good.
Okay. All right, good. So try this. Try to ask Lawrence, if you have access to the website, tell her, I just take a lot of time uploading and downloading,
Mm-hmm.
and I prefer to do it this way. So when you're recording Zoom, for example, in this case, I'm recording, you have the option to record on cloud. I don't know if you've seen that option.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So you record it to cloud. You don't have to record it to your computer,
Yeah.
because also having so many recordings on your computer is like,
Yes.
in my case, I don't like it. I'm like, no, they have to go,
I haven't recorded to the cloud or use that option because since it is a shared account, I
Mm-hmm,
feel that it's going to be like a lot of recordings for her. So I
mm-hmm.
want to, I don't know, like not to be annoying, right? Because I'm
No, but
using her account.
be annoying, because that's Lawrence likes that. Lawrence likes when people are annoying, mostly because it shows that you care.
Mhm,
So I think if you tell her, okay, can I do it on cloud? And you can tell students, hey, after a week, the recording might not be available.
mhm,
So if they want to keep it, they have to record it themselves, but you might have only a week, or only 3 or 4 days. You will see, if you can delete them. You can delete, the
yeah,
recording. And so I don't think the problem with the database or whatever is gonna affect you. You can. I think it even sends you an email, or a little suggestion before. How do you call it? A pop-up message before
mhm,
you record. It's gonna say your drive is full, so you
uh-huh,
have to. So you will know. So for now, don't worry. And if Lawrence has to delete something, she'll probably tell you, right? So, but try to pressure her to see if if there's like other accounts that you can use, or what options she can give you for the future, because I think this is temporary for now.
yes,
But okay, so now we know Edmodo, right?
yes,
If you download the app, I recommend to download it. You can do it as a teacher as well, and
mhm,
it's going to be very user friendly. You're going to like it a lot, because as I told you, it's like separating a little bit of WhatsApp
mhm,
with Edmodo, right? And even like sometimes, I mean, you can have the groups on WhatsApp, perfect, but that's all you should be able to have. If students want to message you, they can start doing it on Edmodo, or again, use WhatsApp for the last resource, unless it works for you, right?
no,
Unless,
okay,
yeah. Site, ISL Collective,
yes, I have been
perfect.
in the video lessons. I love it.
Awesome. All right. So here, video lessons are my favorite. You can also upload your own videos,
Yep.
right? And I also like the PowerPoints as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, even if they're not really updated or they have mistakes or something, you can always, edit them. So my recommendation is, yeah, you're using a template or using the information from one, maybe adding your stuff, maybe adding nicer pictures, and you can save it later for, for other classes, and have your own database. So I think this is like a very good tool to make your life easier. And worksheets, um, sometimes, if you don't want to leave homework from the book, because that's another thing that you have the freedom. If you don't want to leave homework from the book because you didn't have time, or you see that students are struggling with that topic,
Mm-hmm.
you can do that. The timetable that we have is a guide, right? But if you need to take 1 week to study a topic more, or do more conversation, or do more listening, you have that freedom as well. So you can always justify another week by just telling Lawrence, hey, I think the students are struggling with listening. I'm going to take 1 week for listening. So I'm going to move the chronogram, or, 1 week. That makes sense? So
Yeah.
don't be afraid to do that, because again, you're the teacher. We want you to make your own decisions, but we also want you to have the guide, right? The structure for you to follow, right? One of my favorites, live worksheets. I leave it sometimes for reinforcement, or for, because you can leave it as a homework as well.
Yes, and that I will send you the scores to your email. That is something that I like.
Uh-huh. Exactly. So you have the record of the scores, and that's really good. All right. Canva, you use that. Quizzes. I don't know if you use quizzes.
Yes.
Quizzes is,
Well, with these groups, I haven't used quizzes, but I use quizzes with the other groups that I have and on other works that I have.
okay. Yeah, that's good for reviews, right? Like if you already, I don't know, went over a topic, you already did the activities from the book, you can do a little quizzes at the end. That's usually like the last 15, 20 minutes of the class. It could be a quizzes, something like that. So that students are playing, and then, okay, guys, we're done. Thank you so much. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so there's also this website. Have you heard of Youglish.com?
Which one, sorry?
Youglish.com.
Usually,
Um,
no.
this one is, I recommend it when there's like activities with pronunciation or listening.
Uh-huh.
So it's like a YouTube, but for English things, So if you don't know how to pronounce the word vacation, and maybe students are having more than one mistake, or one occasion making this mistake, then you can be like, okay, I want you guys to go to this website, write the word. And what I like about it is that it's a compilation of videos where people use the word in context, right? So, for example, here. Okay, and then I want to.
As soon as the vacation, the electrifying vitality.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Number one.
So there's different people talking about the word, using the word in context. And I think it's the best way to go over pronunciation sometimes, right?
So
So
I didn't know
yeah.
this too.
Yeah, Youglish.com. You can choose American English, British English, Australian English,
Awesome.
or all of them, right? So I think it would be very helpful for you.
I just want to know how to make the part of the, how can I say, like the speaking part of the group, because I've been
Mhm.
using the classroom, the breakout rooms, and I told them to create a presentation or something like that, and have
Mm,
a conversation in pairs, or I don't know, with the classmates. But
yes.
I don't know, like some tips, because I have noticed that the group that
Mhm.
I already have, that was your group, they speak very well and they like that part.
Mhm.
That is
They
something
love speaking.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that is also
Um, yeah, I mean, speaking is kind of my thing because I love speaking. And as you can tell, I don't stop talking. But the point of this is like how do we make them interested, right, in speaking? Because sometimes they are shy or they don't have the best pronunciation, so they don't want to talk. So what I do is like, I usually don't use the speaking portion from the book. I think it's really not, I don't know, it's outdated. It's just not, it doesn't work for me. Like, I think sometimes it's not even for our culture, you know? So I'm like, I'm going to be strategic. And what I recommend to do is like listening and speaking. You have the freedom to do it and as you want. Reading and writing, or if you have vocabulary, you have to stick to the book kind of thing, right? You can make your own presentations and you know, bring your own words if you want, idiomatic expressions sometimes, but those are kind of like non-negotiable, right? The reading and the writing. So in my case, what I do is I sometimes, I don't know, we watch the video. So for example, it doesn't have to be a topic from the book. It doesn't have to do with can or with should or whatever. If it is, great. But if it's not, no worries, because what we want is for them to practice speaking and talk, right? So what I do is maybe I bring them I don't know, let me see, a video from about racism. So like I showed them a video, for example, one day we watched this video about, I don't know, let's see, girl defends Muslim woman on Ellen, I think it was. So we watched a video from Ellen. I like Ellen because sometimes she has, I think, good things to show in the show, like defending someone or helping people that don't have the same opportunities or whatever. So for example, here, I think this was the viral video. So for example, I show them something controversial, like, oh my God, what's happening? And then I say, okay, students, what do you think about the video? Has anybody felt this way? Like I write questions even here. I say, what's your reaction? Maybe they're watching the video while I'm writing. Do you agree with, I don't know, with a woman? So I tell them, okay, guys, let's discuss. Maybe they don't want to talk. So I'm, okay, Mariana, what do you think about this? What did you understand? And then maybe somebody says, yeah, no, the lady's being racist. Okay, so what's, you know, so I make them questions for them to think and give their opinion. That's one way, okay? I also, for example, sometimes find pictures from Facebook even. Like for example, here I found these pictures, like you know, that I think might be working. So it's like, guys, let's take a look at some pictures. They're kind of funny. What is happening here? Oh yeah, I mean, look, it's kind of funny because now we like ultra slim phones, but we still need a battery. So it's like maybe they talk about their phones and we start having a conversation about phones, or
Yeah,
you
something.
know, yeah, some. So pictures like this, for example, this one is a little is like immigration, right? You know, this kid doesn't have like the resources to buy toys, so he makes his own toys, right? Is it good for the environment? Maybe yes. Is it fair? Maybe not, right? For society, stuff like that. So I try to come up with ideas. It's like, what would make me talk, right? Or this thing that happened with Will Smith, right? I don't know if you watched that on. So I played the video and it's like, guys, let's talk about Will Smith. Do you agree with him? Do you agree with the other one? Let's watch the video. And then people give their opinions. So the speaking portion, feel free to, you know, whatever you watch on TikTok, whatever you watch on Facebook, social media, or something that you read, bring it to the table. Sometimes I even ask them, guys, I'm going to write on that motto, like a little survey, write topics that you want to talk in class. So they even say, oh, I want to talk about my favorite band, or I want to talk about, and you can decide, you don't have to say yes to everything, where you're like, okay, I'm going to take some ideas from them, some ideas that I have. I talk about feminism a lot. I sometimes talk about sexuality, depending on the ages. taboo topics, but at the end of the day, we're making them talk.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's a good recommendation. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
First one is the use of English because, well,
Mhm.
I have a group, this group, the English three, they are very talkative, but they have a good English level, I could say. But
Yes.
the other ones are just starting the courses. So how can
Mhm.
I use that? Because at least
Yeah.
I tried at the beginning to speak in English during the whole class because
Yes.
I think that is the most effective way for them to understand. So I
Mhm.
tried just to give the instructions in Spanish and then the rest in English. But when a student
Mhm.
called Lawrence or I write her a message and
Mhm.
told her, teacher, I don't, hey, Lawrence, I don't think that we should use English during the whole class and everything. So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
changed that, and I have been trying to translate everything, but
Okay.
it takes
Okay.
a lot
Mhm.
of time. So I don't know how
Oh
to
no. Mhm.
make the use like the English and the Spanish in the class.
Yeah. Well, I kind of negotiate with them, to be honest. So nobody has, um, something to say. So at the beginning, I'm like, guys, we've been using a lot of English. You can even say this in Spanish. And what do you prefer? Do you want to start a little bit of English? Some people might say yes, some people might say no. So I take their opinion in consideration. And then my recommendation is if you're level one, level two, level three, right? I do use a little bit of Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I try to consistently go with more English. So I tell them that in the beginning. It's like, guys, we're gonna start with Spanish. These are our first classes. I'm gonna give some instructions in English. If you don't understand, you have to ask me. Remember, the questions are, teacher, how do you say, or what's the meaning of, or can you explain, can you repeat, right? So use those in class if you don't understand something.
Mm-hmm.
um, or can you say that in Spanish, or even when they don't understand, they have to try to speak English, right?
Yes.
So that's what I tell them, is like, you educate them, and you
Mm-hmm.
tell them that in each class you're going to add a little bit more English, a little bit more English, a little bit more English. If you have to go back to Spanish, go back to Spanish, is okay. But I don't like to translate everything, because it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. It's like they're going to wait for the Spanish
Uh-huh. And it takes
translation,
a lot of time.
and it takes a lot of time. You sound kind of stupid, because it's like, oh my god, why am I doing this? Like, it's just weird, right? Like, I am speaking English, but it helps when they don't understand and they're lost, right? So I would say, try to do it in Spanish, and little by little you go with English, more English and more English. um, Educate them to ask if they don't understand, right? um, you're approachable. You can tell them, guys, I'm not going to do anything. Just, feel free to say if you don't understand, even chat in the chat in private. Teacher, I don't understand, you know? Um, and so you can explain it in Spanish, but that's how I do it, because eventually they will have to speak only English. I expect, for example, level 4, 5, and 6 entirely in English.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want Spanish, they have to go back to level 1 or 2 or 3, you know? So, and don't be afraid to tell them that. It's like, if you guys are in level 2 or 3 and they're not actually acting like level 2 or 3, and they have to go back to 1, we send them to back to 1. So it's like, that's always an option, to send them back to a level that they're supposed to be, even if they already spent a year in ALCANZA, you know? So it's like, that's possible. But yeah, it's really up to you. Use Spanish at first, I think, and then you add a little bit of English until they feel comfortable with that, right?
Okay.
That's my recommendation. You don't have to translate everything. You have to tell them, hey, we're going to be using today 60% English, 40% Spanish. So I need you guys to, if you don't understand something, ask. And you can also ask somebody to explain. That's also something that I do in my classes, is like, if you don't want to be talking too much in class,
Yeah.
so you say, I don't know, Maria, can you read the instruction here in this activity? Okay, so she reads that. Everybody understood? No, I don't understand. Juan, can you explain, Maria, what the instruction was in your own words? Okay, so you make them talk, participate, and explain, to make sure that they're understanding, right?
Mhm.
Or you can say, Ignacio, I see that you're not paying attention. Can you tell me what we just did? And, stuff like that. So make sure that you ask those questions in English, that they try to use the English that they know.
Mhm.
Um, did I answer your question?
Yes, that help. Use up the book.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause as I told you before, with the intensive group, it's kind of complicated since we have less time. So the time that I check the homework, then use the book. That's it, right? After that, then I explain
Yeah.
the grammar, and I don't have like a lot of time to, no, I don't know, like to make participations in the
Yeah.
class. So, um, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if it is like a must that we have to use the book every
Yeah.
class.
Well, not every class. I mean, you have like a timetable, right?
Yeah.
And but it's different from the ones on Saturday, right? It should be
Yes.
different. Okay.
Uh-huh. The
Um,
the Fridays is the day that I usually take to make that conversational part. But
mhm.
what I want to ask is if I have to use all the practice from the book, because
Oh
I
yeah, no, no, no.
read
That
a lot.
makes more sense. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, the book, we have to use the book, but you make the choices that you want. For example, sometimes I like the reading, so I only use the reading. The grammar, I always try to do the grammar because then they have a test. Excuse me, they have homework
Uh-huh.
from the book. So what I do is like I sometimes go to the homework first myself, and I'm like, okay, the homework says that they have to use, I don't know, the modal have to and must, and they have to learn this vocabulary,
Mhm.
right? So that's kind of what I take from the textbook. What I take from the textbook is not every single exercise. It's
Mhm.
only the ones that will help me do the homework. So, okay, guys, we're gonna do the reading together. Let's take a look at these words, and let's move to the I don't know, grammar. There's a little grammar workout. So there's an extension for the grammar,
Mhm.
and I only do that. And as I told you before, the listening and speaking, that's my time to interact with them.
Okay.
So that's how I do it. But if, for
Mhm.
example, if you don't like the reading from the book and you have your own reading for discussion as well, then you can bring your own reading. Um, as long as you're using the skills, right? You're doing a little bit of reading, a little bit of listening, a little bit of speaking, making sure that they're able to do the homework, right?
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
point. But yeah, any
And
other?
the last one, the last question is, um, I usually, after that we finish one unit, I like to ask them some recommendations that they could give, or something that they didn't like during the
Mm-hmm.
unit. So I don't know, something that they didn't like during the class,
Okay,
or
yeah.
recommendations to make it better. Because I try to do that after we finish each unit.
Yes.
They have been telling me that they would like if I call them by name, right? Because there's always a group of 5 people who is always participating a lot. They like to participate, and the rest of the class cannot do it, right? Because
Oh
these
yeah.
guys are like I don't know, they have a better English level. And that's what I have been trying to do, but when I call them, they don't participate either.
Oh,
It's
I see. Yeah.
fulanito, 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 and they never show up. So that is,
Hmm.
I don't know, kind of
Does this? Yeah. I mean, does this happen with the kids or adults or all of them?
um, I could say the adults, because the kids
Adults.
are
Uh-huh.
always there, but
Mm-hmm.
the adults, no.
Well, I would kind of like, I know, I mean, I would give them like a pep talk almost, because I usually be like, like if I notice something that I don't like, I tell them like, guys, okay, we need to do something. I'm gonna start, yeah, calling you by names. I call
Uh-huh.
you one time and you don't answer, we move to another person. But I also consider that for attendance. So I tell them, if you don't participate in class, it means you're absent, because technically you're absent.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell them I'm checking participation. I will check the recording another day as well to make sure you participated. But if you don't participate, I'm gonna write you as absent. And remember, 3 absences, you're out.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of force them to participate. I call them by names more than once. And that's kind of how I, it works for me. It's true. Maybe 3 or 4 or 5 are talking more. But I sometimes get a little mad and I tell them, okay, if you guys don't want to participate, I'm going to have a class with them only, and you can watch the recording later. I don't want you to be in class if you're not talking to me, if you're not, I even make them like turn on their cameras. So if they don't want to turn on their cameras, then they have to give me a justification. But that's kind of, now for me, it's mandatory. If you don't want to show the camera, then you don't have to be in class. You can watch the recording.
Oh, okay, I
Right?
didn't know that, because that is something that I also have noticed, that when they are not having their cameras on, they are like, I don't know, I don't know where they are, but they are not
Yeah.
on the class.
You can start slowly. You can say, guys, now let's turn the camera for 15 minutes. Okay. I tell you when to turn it off. So you can have moments in the class where they can turn it off, which is fine. Maybe when you're explaining a topic, but when they're participating, it's better to have them with the camera on, or if you have I don't know, an activity and you want to see their reaction, so have the camera on for respect. Again, there are cases where unfortunately they will not do it. So you have to talk to the parents, or you have to talk to the student directly on WhatsApp. And it's like, we need to find a solution because you need to have your camera on, stuff like that. If it's something about economical things, just let us know, right? And we can try to find a solution.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I know you have to teach a class, so I'm gonna let you go. But if you have any more questions, write me, send me an audio, and I'm here to help. Okay.
Well, thank you, Oscar. I appreciate all the tips.
Thank you for the time. Good luck with everything. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.